Hi, my name is Denise Hughes. I'm the Senior Director of Programming for the Angelika New York and for Angelika Anywhere. Today, we're going to be talking with Juan José Campanella, who's the director of this Academy Award winning film, The Secret in Their Eyes. He also has another film that was nominated for the Oscar, The Son of the Bride. And his latest film, The Whistle's Tale, is also available here on the platform. If you want to check it out, it's really great. So welcome, Juan. Thank you for coming and joining us, actually.
Thank you, Denise.
I wish you were able to come, but it's...
I know. Me too, believe me.
Yeah. So it's been 10 years, since almost 10 years, right? Since the release of The Secret in Their Eyes.
It's been in Argentina 11 years and 10 and here 10 years.
10 years, yeah. So this film is based on a book, on a novel by Eduardo Sacheri.
Yes.
Is that right?
The Question in Her Eyes.
The Question, yeah. So how did you discover this book or this novel? How did you find out about it, and why did you decide to make it into a film?
Well, I was a huge fan of Eduardo Sacheri. It was Eduardo Sacheri's first novel. He was a short story writer until then, and I was a huge fan of his short stories. He was very emotional, and I was very, he always had great ideas, but also treated his characters with compassion and emotion. And so when his first novel came out, I didn't know him in person, but when his first novel came out, I bought the film. I bought the film. I bought the book as soon as I saw it, and it took me about 5 days to read it. It was really phenomenal. The film starts with a person wanting, to write a novel, like the movie does, and also not knowing how to begin it, and trying different beginnings. And I thought that was very cinematic. That's how the movie begins. But then the book completely swept me away, and just took me, and I read the novel. I wasn't thinking of a movie. But there were many things that came back to me over, this was 2005. So many things that came back to me over the next year or so, and most of them had to do with the love story in it, not only with the ending and the film noir part of it, but also the love story, which was not that prominent in the book. The character of the female character is not, practically doesn't appear in the past. So that was something that we did with Eduardo in the movie, and it kept coming back. Also with an image that to me is the most terrible thing that could happen to someone, who is to be lonely when old, to be old and lonely. I'm afraid of that more than I'm afraid of death itself. So this image of someone, having dinner alone at a restaurant and seeing other people interact, and he's alone. And I was wondering, and I thought, which is something that the character says at one point in the movie, I saw myself and I didn't like myself. And I started wondering, what was the beginning of that loneliness? So the film noir and the thriller aspect of it, it's not the search of the Maltese Falcon. It's not for money. It's not for anything, but it's for a man to search for the origin of his loneliness. And I thought that was a very emotional point of departure for a movie. It wasn't that spelled out in the book. So with that approach, I went to Eduardo and I suggested, those changes, and he loved the idea of trying it out, and that's how we started with the movie.
Because you co-wrote the script with him,
yes.
right?
Yes, yeah. Which took a lot of courage from him to do all those changes to the book. But he I think that he's ended up enjoying it. Like, it was like riffing on a music that you created.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, because it must be hard to actually just go and like rework something that you worked on so hard, and now just like change it change
Yes.
it and make it into something else.
But he really he enjoyed he I think he ended up enjoying it and understanding all the needs of film. You know, the for example that a character on film expresses him or herself with actions and words, not with thoughts. Or if we think about it, we have to see it in the performance, the subtext in their eyes. You know, there's actually we designed it in a way that if you just hear the movie, you have one movie, and if you just turn off the sound and you just look at the faces, you would have a different movie.
Huh.
Well, that was the secret in the rice thing, you know,
Yeah,
that they all tell everybody's eyes tell a different story from what they're saying. So so with that in mind, you know, he saw that the visual aspect of it that he didn't have in the novel was something so enjoyable to play with, and from then on he was actually, sometimes I had to stop him because he was suggesting bigger changes to the novel than I had.
wow, that is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the film seems to operate in like dualities, like there's love and hate, there's like what's fair and unfair, there's like right and wrong, there's past and present, and like this seems to start in that way, but at some point like those lines start blurring until actually some like they actually merge.
Yes.
So to me that was very interesting, how you start in one way and then everything becomes blurry and you don't end up knowing it's like what it's right and what it's not right.
Yes.
And
Yes.
could you talk a little bit about that, and how did you like develop the script in that sense where like things are like the past and the present, like there's
Yes.
like different scenes?
Well, you know, there were two things that the past and how to, you know, go from the past to the present without feeling that we were starting different movies all the time, without having a sort of coitus interruptus feeling.
Yeah.
You know, we operated more with an idea that the scenes, whenever there was a change in the time, the emotional dilemma of what the scene was talking about would still be present in the present. So it would be like a natural flow of a conversation, with the conversation beginning at one time and following with, all of a sudden I give you 25 more years of experience and go on with the conversation. You know, so that creates an interesting aspect of it. But the actually the thing that was more that we had to work harder at, even, you know, so it wouldn't be noticeable, so it would be more user friendly, is a mix between the love storyline, the romantic storyline, and the thriller storyline.
Yeah. Okay.
That was something that, because it had very two different tones, but we still had to merge them. And we really operated with at that time I was very high on listening to Beethoven. It was like I had rediscovered him, and I was doing courses on him and all the sonata form mainly. And there was a key that I took from the sonata form in how they handle the two themes. You know, sonata usually has a more dramatic scene and a more idyllic or romantic theme. And I took the cue from that and I used it on the script, which is, you know, like in the first movement, more or less, on the first act, you separate, you know, you present the two themes very clearly and without mixing them in the same scene. You know, they would be created, and there would be a bridge, a tonal bridge between them, an emotional bridge, so they wouldn't be, again, you know, what I said before of interrupting each other. And then you slowly start in the second act, you start having variations on those themes, and you slowly start mixing them in the same scene, and and that sort of comes to its strongest moment in the interrogation scene. And then in the third act, then it's all mixed, and it just you know, you almost have the two lines of music going on at the same time. And
that's so interesting, because actually the score of the film is sort of like that.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. Well, we work with that. I work with this idea. Emilio Cauderer, who was a composer, we started working on the music before we started shooting, which is a luxury. Yes, which is a luxury that we can't, not many times we can afford. We're great friends also. So he said, if you have a script, just send it to me and I'll start, or any ideas. So I sent him the script, and I sent him the second movement of the piano trio number 4 of Beethoven, which was a music that I was hearing, all the time while I was thinking of the script. And he started sending me, the melodies that the reading the script provoking him. We knew that we had to have themes for different aspects, and then starting to mix them. So we had a lot of time to work on the music.
No, that you can tell, because it's like the music, the score, it's so good. It's just
it is very good.
Yeah, it just like, it doesn't, it's sort of surprising, like, not, I don't know if surprising is the right word, but it's like maybe you're expecting something else for a particular scene. Like, since it's a thriller, you're expecting a sound like you would what you would usually hear in movies, but you don't. There's like an emotional score that takes you a different way.
Well, the emotional aspect, that's what I was telling you about, when we start mixing the tones of the two very disparate tones, film noir, romantic film, so we started to play with those two elements, and that the music was a huge part of it. Because everything, the great thing that the novel had, which called my attention, and we tried to keep in the movie, was that it was a film noir, the novel, so was a novel. The novel was a noir novel, but the characters were not. It was like real people in a noir novel. There was not the cold, detached detective that has a glass of whiskey every afternoon, and our characters fell in love. They were very scared. They got scared. They were moved when they saw the dead body, like a real person would be. So it was very important to always keep that idea, that they would react. Usually when you see a police story, we say in Spanish, like a noir novel, the characters don't seem very real. They're very cold, standoffish. They don't cry. They don't, they're very usually cold. And that was the main difference, that I wanted to have. How would we react? How would you react if you walk into a room and see a person that has been almost mutilated? It would not be, oh, okay, let's just get evidence. You'd be very, very shocked and impressed for the rest of your life, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. So the other thing that yesterday I watched it again, and the other thing that caught my attention, that I think that it didn't the first time I saw it, is that most of the relationships, or almost all of the relationships, they're about impossible relationships in a way. So you have between Irene and Esposito, between even like his assistant and Sandoval is his name, and Sandoval and his wife. Even like the Gomez marriage is an impossible love. Even like the Morales marriage, and then the Gomez and Morales is also another, like, so there's like all these, like, seems like the main relationships in the film, they're all like impossible love stories. So what are you trying to say?
Well, to me it was like, it was that it ended up with that as a common factor among all the relationships, but though at the end we have a different suggestion. But the thing that we work with was, as our main theme, was passion. And passion is present in every sense, and passion is what moves our three main characters. Even the murderer, because it's a passion murder. So it's a perverted sense of passion. Then the Morales, the widower, has a broken sense of passion because his
Yeah.
wife was taken from him in the when the flower was blooming.
Yeah.
They hadn't had the time for that relationship to be an older relationship or more routinary. They were like completely in love when that happened. So it's a thwarted passion. And then Esposito, our leading character, who starts looking at his life and looking for that passion that he saw in Morales, that undying passion, and he could never find it in real life.
Yeah.
So we have our three main characters uh, uh, working with a different idea of passion, and then also Irene, who has her sense of duty obliterates her sense of beauty and morality, and whatever rules she was brought up with, like obliterate makes her cover her own passions. So that was the what would happen with all unhealthy unhealthy manifestations of passion.
Yeah.
And also they find the guilty guy because of his or other passion, which is a soccer team. So I'm doing
Yes.
I'm giving spoilers here, I think.
Well,
For
spoiler alert.
Spoiler
But
alert.
we should have said that before. Um, so speaking about the stadium scene, like the beginning of, or like the starting of the stadium scene, it's brilliant how it was shot.
Oh, thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit, was that pre-drone era, or how did you do that shot, like
Yes,
coming into...
it was a real helicopter that shook like a cocktail shaker. I was up after the first take. I told my VFX person, I think that you should be up there, because I wanted to ride the helicopter, for the first take. And after the first one, I said, this is coming down. Who wants to go up there? And the guy from the helicopter kept saying, no, it's fine, it's fine. And I was like, it really shook a lot. So yes, we did 8 takes of that. But that whole scene took 3 days and a half to shoot. Yes.
No, it's amazing. It's like the football stadium, like the soccer stadium, crowd with avalanche and all.
Yes. And it's only 1 take. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So how did you do that?
No, we can't reveal the secrets. Yeah, the magic of it.
But it's stunning. Like I stop and I watch it again because it's like it's really great.
Okay. You see that I actually, what you just did, that's great, because I told the person that we designed the how we would do this scene. I said, I wanted to do it in such a way that when someone starts watching it at home and starts going frame by frame,
I did not do that though.
they will not find it. They will not find the way we did it. So.
Yeah, I didn't go frame by frame, but I did just like go back. I was like, wait, is this 1 take? Is this 1 shot? Is this like, what is it? So it was like,
it's 5 minutes and a half, and it starts 2 miles away from the stadium and goes to the audience and inside the stadium and ends on the field. Yeah,
because I think there's such, like, now that there's drones are so readily available, and it's easier to make those, but you can tell that it's not a drone. It's like it's a
real helicopter. Yeah.
Like I was curious. That it's great. So can you tell us also about the casting of this film, because you've worked with Ricardo Darín in almost all your previous film, I guess, till this point, and then you had Soledad Villamil and Ricardo Darín already in
Same Love, Same Rain. Yes.
Yeah. So how did you decide to recast, like go back to this couple, and then also Francella, which is like till this point, I believe, right? It was a comedic actor. This is his first series.
It's a movie that started a new phase of his career.
Yeah.
Because he was a #1 box office draw in Argentina, but a comedian. a great, phenomenal comedian, but a comic. So, like many comics do, like here in America too, there's a point that they say, I can flex more muscles than comedy. And so I thought he was someone that, because the character is the protagonist of his scenes. He's a second, we would say that he's more or less a secondary character in the film, but in the scenes that he's in, he's the protagonist. He's the one who breaks the case. He's very important. He's a very important character. So he had to be a very strong actor. So, none of our strong actors would be a co-star, a second in the film. So by his will to show his chops in other way, he did that, and I ended up with a very strong duo of actors.
Yeah.
Because they've never been together again. And they're great, they're phenomenal. And Soledad, we had worked, as you said, 10 years before we had done another movie.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And that movie is already 21 years old. I cannot believe
Wow.
it. Yeah, I remember the day we were shooting it. They're great. They're great on camera. They have a phenomenal chemistry. Ricardo and Soledad do, and I knew that so much was going to be unspoken in this film. What I said before about the eyes, that I needed that chemistry to be there. So I didn't have. They're great. They're great presences. They have great close-ups. They have great eyes. Their eyes speak very loud, and so I said, let's do a 10-year homage to that other movie, and that's how the casting came about.
So let me ask you a little bit about the whole Oscar experience. How is it,
Okay.
like, this was your second nomination, but how was like your first win? So how is like that whole, must be so surreal.
It's a very, actually most of the images that I have in my memory now are from the YouTube, from the YouTube video that I seen almost every interview that I go to. They replay that, and from that night, that have become my memory. It's the Oscar is a great award. It's a very iconic, symbolic award. It's the biggest award a person, a movie could get, a person or a movie could get. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows by the silhouette. I think it's the only award that you can do that just show the silhouette of every award on earth, of any festival, everything you think of, and the only one normal people will recognize is the Oscar. And you grow up with that. When you're a filmmaker, when you're a kid studying film, you don't dream of winning Karlovy Vary. You dream of winning the Oscar. It's like a joke. What you won the Oscar? No.
Yeah.
So it's very iconic. It's an enormous change in the life of the film. Because it all of a sudden it makes the film open in every country in the world. And not only that, as you know very well, you can open a film, but sometimes you cannot get the audience to come see it. And with that, it's a draw also, at least for the first weekend, because then it's always word of mouth. But at least it's a bigger draw for that. In terms of my life, it hasn't changed it tremendously. It maybe gave me an inner validation, that it relaxed me a little bit, to the point that it took a long time to make another movie. But no, that happened because a month after the Oscar, I started an animated movie, and that was like a 4-year process. So anyway, it's a great thing. A movie could not hope for a bigger and better mimo. I don't know what would the word be for mimo, Denise?
Mimo, it would be like
caress.
Yeah, but it's
You know, pampering. Or
yeah. I'm not sure.
Well, but the biggest compliment a film person can get.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on that.
Okay.
And well, thank you so much for joining us. And we hope to have you here with your next film.
I hope to be there, and I recommend again The Whistle's Tale to everybody to come and watch
The
it.
Whistle's Tale and The Secret in Their Eyes, and hopefully we'll have more of your films on the platform available.
Great, very good.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you very much.